Hello, ladies, and welcome to our new Bible reading series. I'm Cindra Enlow from HeavenlyPlace.com, and this year, as we read through the Bible, we'll explore God's incredible story of love and redemption. If you're looking for a Bible reading plan that's simple and doable, this is it. So let's get started and discover the heart of God together, one chapter at a time. Hello, ladies, and welcome back to our one-year Bible reading plan. This is week 13, day 1. And today's scheduled reading is Judges chapters 11 through 15. So in these chapters, we're going to meet two more of Israel's judges, Jephthah and Samson. And even if you've never read through the Bible before, you've probably heard of Samson and Delilah. She discovered the secret of his strength and handed him over to the Philistines. But Samson's story is about more than just a love story gone wrong. He was set apart by God before birth to begin delivering Israel from the Philistines. And while his path was messy and sometimes reckless, he still accomplished the work that God had given him to do. Now, Jephthah's story may not be as familiar, but it's definitely tragic. Jephthah, wanting to ensure victory, he made a rash vow to God, and he promised God that if he gave him victory, that he would offer as a burnt offering the first thing that came out of his house when he returned. Tragically, it was his only child, his daughter, who came out to greet him. So, did Jephthah keep his vow and sacrifice her? He did. But there are two main views about how he did it. One is that he literally offered her as a burnt sacrifice. The problem with this is that this goes against everything God commands. And if he did do that, then he did go against God. But the second and more likely view is that she was dedicated to lifelong service to God. Remaining unmarried and childless, which fits with the text, which says she and her friends mourned her virginity for 2 months, and that the women of Israel continued to remember her year after year. But either way, the vow was foolish, and the outcome was heartbreaking. But it is a reminder to us to think before we speak, especially when we make promises to God. God tells us not to swear on anything in heaven or anything below, but our yes is to be yes and our no is to be no. So we are to follow God's command, be clear in our speech, don't try to make bargains with God. Okay, so that was a long introduction to a long reading for today. So let's jump right into our reading, Judges chapters 11 through 15. Judges 11. Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor. He was the son of a prostitute. Gilead became the father of Jephthah. Gilead's wife bore him sons. When his wife's sons grew up, they drove Jephthah out and said to him, "You will not inherit in our father's house, for you are the son of another woman." Then Jephthah fled from his brothers and lived in the land of Tob. Outlaws joined up with Jephthah, and they went out with him. After a while, the children of Ammon made war against Israel. When the children of Ammon made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to get Jephthah out of the land of Tob. They said to Jephthah, "Come and be our chief, that we may fight with the children of Ammon." Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, "Didn't you hate me and drive me out of my father's house? Why have you come to me now when you are in distress?" The elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, "Therefore we have turned again to you now, that you may go with us and fight with the children of Ammon. You will be our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead." Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, "If you bring me home again to fight with the children of Ammon, and Yahweh delivers them before me, will I be your head?" The elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, "Yahweh will be witness between us. Surely we will do what you say." Then Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and chief over them. Jephthah spoke all his words before Yahweh in Mizpah. Jephthah sent messengers to the king of the children of Ammon, saying, What do you have to do with me, that you have come to me to fight against my land?" The king of the children of Ammon answered the messengers of Jephthah, "Because Israel took away my land when he came up out of Egypt, from the Arnon even to the Jabbok, and to the Jordan. Now therefore restore that territory again peaceably." Jephthah sent messengers again to the king of the children of Ammon, and he said to him, Jephthah says, "Israel didn't take away the land of Moab, nor the land of the children of Ammon. But when they came up from Egypt, and Israel went through the wilderness to the Red Sea, and came to Kadesh, then Israel sent messengers to the king of Edom, saying, 'Please let me pass through your land.' But the king of Edom didn't listen. In the same way he sent to the king of Moab, but he refused. So Israel stayed in Kadesh. Then they went through the wilderness, and went around the land of Edom and the land of Moab, and came by the east side of the land of Moab, and they encamped on the other side of Arnon. But they didn't come within the border of Moab, for the Arnon was the border of Moab. Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, the king of Heshbon, and Israel said to him, "Please let us pass through your land to my place." But Sihon didn't trust Israel to pass through his border. But Sihon gathered all his people together and encamped at Jahaz, and fought against Israel. Yahweh the God of Israel delivered Sihon and all his people into the hand of Israel, and they struck them. So Israel possessed all the land of the Amorites, the inhabitants of that country. They possessed all the border of the Amorites, from the Arnon even to the Jabbok, and from the wilderness even to the Jordan. So now Yahweh, the God of Israel, has dispossessed the Amorites from before his people Israel. And should you possess them, won't you possess that which Chemosh, your God, gives you to possess? So whoever Yahweh our God has dispossessed from before us, them will we possess. Now are you anything better than Balak the son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he ever strive against Israel, or did he ever fight against them? Israel lived in Heshbon and its towns, and in Aroer and its towns, and in all the cities that are along the side of the Arnon, for 300 years. Why didn't you recover them within that time? Therefore I have not sinned against you, but you do me wrong to war against me. May Yahweh the judge be judged today between the children of Israel and the children of Ammon." However, the king of the children of Ammon didn't listen to the words of Jephthah, which he sent him. Then Yahweh's spirit came on Jephthah, and he passed over Gilead and Manasseh, and passed over Mizpah of Gilead. And from Mizpah of Gilead he passed over to the children of Ammon. Jephthah vowed a vow to Yahweh and said, "If you will indeed deliver the children of Ammon into my hand, then it shall be that whatever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, it shall be Yahweh's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering." So Jephthah passed over to the children of Ammon to fight against them, and Yahweh delivered them into his hand. He struck them from Aroer until you come to Minnith, even 20 cities, and to Abel-keramim, with a very great slaughter. So the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. Jephthah came to Mizpah to his house, and behold, his daughter came out to meet him with tambourines and with dances. She was his only child. Besides her he had neither son nor daughter. When he saw her, he tore his clothes and said, "Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low, and you are one of those who trouble me, for I have opened my mouth to Yahweh, and I can't go back." She said to him, "My father, you have opened your mouth to Yahweh. Do to me according to that which has proceeded out of your mouth, because Yahweh has taken vengeance for you on your enemies, even on the children of Ammon." Then she said to her father, "Let this thing be done for me. Leave me alone 2 months, that I may depart and go down on the mountains and bewail my virginity, I and my companions." He said, "Go." He sent her away for 2 months, and she departed, she and her companions, and mourned her virginity on the mountains. At the end of 2 months she returned to her father, who did with her according to his vow, which he had vowed. She was a virgin. It became a custom in Israel that the daughters of Israel went yearly to celebrate the daughter of Jephthah, the Gileadite, 4 days in a year. Judges 12. The men of Ephraim were gathered together and passed northward, and they said to Jephthah, "Why did you pass over to fight against the children of Ammon, and didn't call us to go with you? We will burn your house around you with fire." Jephthah said to them, I and my people were at great strife with the children of Ammon, and when I called you, you didn't save me out of their hand. When I saw that you didn't save me, I put my life in my hand, and passed over against the children of Ammon, and Yahweh delivered them into my hand. Why then have you come up to me today to fight against me? Then Jephthah gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim. The men of Gilead struck Ephraim, because they said, You are fugitives of Ephraim, you Gileadites, in the middle of Ephraim and in the middle of Manasseh. The Gileadites took the fords of the Jordan against the Ephraimites. Whenever a fugitive of Ephraim said, Let me go over, the men of Gilead said to him, Are you an Ephraimite? If he said no, then they said to him, Now say Shibboleth. And he said Sibboleth, for he couldn't manage to pronounce it correctly. Then they seized him and killed him at the fords of the Jordan. At that time 42,000 of Ephraim fell. Jephthah judged Israel 6 years. Then Jephthah the Gileadite died, and was buried in the cities of Gilead. After him Ibzan of Bethlehem judged Israel. He had 30 sons. He sent his 30 daughters outside his clan, and he brought in 30 daughters from outside his clan for his sons. He judged Israel 7 years. Ibzan died and was buried at Bethlehem. After him Elon the Zebulunite judged Israel, and he judged Israel 10 years. Elon the Zebulunite died and was buried in Aijalon in the land of Zebulun. After him Abdon the son of Hillel the Parathonite judged Israel. He had 40 sons and 30 sons' who rode on 70 donkey colts. He judged Israel 8 years. Abdon the son of Hillel the Parathonite died and was buried in Parathon in the land of Ephraim, in the hill country of the Amalekites. Judges 13. The children of Israel again did that which was evil in Yahweh's sight, and Yahweh delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years. There was a certain man of Zorah of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and childless. Yahweh's angel appeared to the woman and said to her, See now, you are barren and childless, but you shall conceive and bear a son. Now therefore please beware, and drink no wine nor strong drink, and don't eat any unclean thing. For behold, you shall conceive and give birth to a son. No razor shall come on his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb. He shall begin to save Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, A man of God came to me, and his face was like the face of the angel of God, very awesome. I didn't ask him where he was from, neither did he tell me his name. But he said to me, Behold, you shall conceive and bear a son, and now drink no wine nor strong drink. Don't eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb to the day of his death. Then Manoah entreated Yahweh and said, O Lord, please let the man of God whom you sent come again to us, and teach us what we should do to the child who shall be born. God listened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God came again to the woman as she sat in the field. But Manoah, her husband, wasn't with her. The woman hurried and ran and told her husband, saying to him, Behold, the man who came to me that day has appeared to me. Manoah arose and followed his wife, and came to the man and said to him, Are you the man who spoke to my wife? He said, I am. Manoah said, Now let your words happen. What shall the child's way of life and mission be? Yahweh's angel said to Manoah, Of all that I said to the woman, let her beware. She may not eat of anything that comes of the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. Let her observe all that I commanded her. Manoah said to Yahweh's angel, Please stay with us, that we may make a young goat ready for you. Yahweh's angel said to Manoah, Though you detain me, I won't eat your bread. If you will prepare a burnt offering, you must offer it to Yahweh. For Manoah didn't know that he was Yahweh's angel. Manoah said to Yahweh's angel, What is your name, that when your words happen, we may honor you? Yahweh's angel said to him, Why do you ask about my name, since it is incomprehensible? So Manoah took the young goat and the meal offering and offered it on the rock to Yahweh. Then the angel did an amazing thing as Manoah and his wife watched. For when the flame went up toward the sky from off the altar, Yahweh's angel ascended in the flame of the altar. Manoah and his wife watched, and they fell on their faces to the ground. But Yahweh's angel didn't appear to Manoah or to his wife any more. Then Manoah knew that he was Yahweh's angel. Manoah said to his wife, "We shall surely die because we have seen God." But his wife said to him, "If Yahweh were pleased to kill us, he wouldn't have received a burnt offering and a meal offering at our hand. He wouldn't have shown us all these things, nor would he have told us such things as these at this time." The woman bore a son and named him Samson. The child grew, and Yahweh blessed him. Yahweh's spirit began to move him in Mahanadan between Zorah and Eshtaol. Judges 14. Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. He came up and told his father and his mother, saying, "I have seen a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me as my wife." Then his father and his mother said to him, "Isn't there a woman among your brother's daughters, or among all my people, that you go to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines?" Samson said to his father, "Get her for me, for she pleases me well." But his father and his mother didn't know that it was of Yahweh, for he sought an occasion against the Philistines. Now at that time the Philistines ruled over Israel. Then Samson went down to Timnah with his father and his mother, and came to the vineyards of Timnah. And behold, a young lion roared at him. Yahweh's spirit came mightily on him, and he tore him as he would have torn a young goat with his bare hands. But he didn't tell his father or his mother what he had done. He went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. After a while he returned to take her, and he went over to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees at the body of the lion, and honey. He took it into his hands, and he went on, eating as he went. He came to his father and mother and gave to them, and they ate. But he didn't tell them that he had taken the honey out of the lion's body. His father went down to the woman, and Samson made a feast there, for the young men used to do so. When they saw him, they brought 30 companions to be with him. Samson said to them, "Let me tell you a riddle now. If you can tell me the answer within the 7 days of the feast and find it out, then I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothing. But if you can't tell me the answer, then you shall give me 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothing." They said to him, "Tell us your riddle that we may hear it." He said to them, "Out of the eater came out food. Out of the strong came out sweetness." They couldn't in 3 days declare the riddle. On the 7th day they said to Samson's wife, "Entice your husband, that he may declare to us the riddle, lest we burn you and your father's house with fire. Have you called us to impoverish us? Isn't that so?" Samson's wife wept before him and said, "You just hate me and don't love me. You've told a riddle to the children of my people and haven't told it to me." He said to her, "Behold, I haven't told my father or my mother, so why should I tell you?" She wept before him the 7 days while their feast lasted, and on the 7th day he told her, because she pressed him severely. And she told the riddle to the children of her people. The men of the city said to him on the 7th day before the sun went down, "What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?" He said to them, "If you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have found out my riddle." Yahweh's spirit came mightily on him, and he went down to Ashkelon and struck 30 men of them. He took their plunder, then gave the changes of clothing to those who declared the riddle. His anger burned, and he went up to his father's house, but Samson's wife was given to his companion, who had been his friend. Judges 15. But after a while, in the time of wheat harvest, Samson visited his wife with a young goat. He said, "I will go in to my wife's room." But her father wouldn't allow him to go in. Her father said, "I most certainly thought you utterly hated her. Therefore I gave her to your companion. Isn't her younger sister more beautiful than she? Please take her instead." Samson said to them, "This time I will be blameless in the case of the Philistines when I harm them." Samson went and caught 300 foxes, and took torches, and turned tail to tail, and put a torch in the middle between every 2 tails. When he had set the torches on fire, he let them go into the standing grain of the Philistines, and burned up both the shocks and the standing grain, and also the olive groves. Then the Philistines said, "Who has done this?" They said, "Samson, the son of Law of the Timnite, because he has taken his wife and given her to his companion." The Philistines came up and burned her and her father with fire. Samson said to them, "If you behave like this, surely I will take a revenge on you, and after that I will cease." He struck them hip and thigh with a great slaughter, and he went down and lived in the caves at Edom's rock. Then the Philistines went up, encamped in Judah, and spread themselves in Lehi. The men of Judah said, "Why have you come up against us?" They said, "We have come up to bind Samson, to do to him as he has done to us." Then 3,000 men of Judah went down to the cave at Edom's rock and said to Samson, "Don't you know that the Philistines are rulers over us? What then is this that you have done to us?" He said to them, "As they did to me, so I have done to them." They said to him, "We have come down to bind you, that we may deliver you into the hand of the Philistines." Samson said to them, "Swear to me that you will not attack me yourselves." They spoke to him, saying, "No, but we will bind you securely and deliver you into their hands, but surely we will not kill you." They bound him with 2 new ropes and brought him up from the rock. When he came to Lehi, the Philistines shouted as they met him. Then Yahweh's Spirit came mightily on him, and the ropes that were on his arms became as flax that was burned with fire, and his bands dropped from off his hands. He found a fresh jawbone of a donkey, put out his hand, took it, and struck 1,000 men with it. Samson said, "With the jawbone of a donkey, heaps on heaps, with the jawbone of a donkey, I have struck 1,000 men." When he had finished speaking, he threw the jawbone out of his hand, and that place was called Ramath Lehi. He was very thirsty and called on Yahweh and said, "You have given this great deliverance by the hand of your servant, and now shall I die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised." But God split the hollow place that is in Lehi, and water came out of it. When he had drunk, his spirit came again, and he revived. Therefore its name was called En-Hakkore, which is in Lehi to this day. He judged Israel 20 years in the days of the Philistines.